All right. Hey guys, looking forward to today. So I've got a fairly long video for you today, but I want to make it full of value. So I'm going to be giving you some actionable takeaways you can literally take from this video and put them into your sales conversation. So grab yourself a coffee, grab yourself a pen and paper, and let's jump into this. So just for context, I spend a lot of time coaching reps either on a one-to-one basis or working with the sales leader to roll out outcome-focused sales training to move the needle. And some of the things that I work on with reps and sales orgs is demos. Right. Now, a couple of the mistakes that I see that sales organizations and sales reps make when it comes to demoing their product, there's kind of like three things I always find. There's others, but these are like the three things that pop up all of the time. So the first is we've ran a discovery call. So we do a discovery call and it's almost like we're just doing that to tick a box. Because when we jump into our demo, we go into our second problem, which is we just show them everything. Right. So like if we're going to do a discovery call, let's do it because yes, we want to do qualification, but you also want to understand what's their desired state. Where do they want to be? Where do they need to be tomorrow? So that we can actually go and demo that and not overwhelm them. There's loads of research out there that shows that when buyers are accessing all this content online, they're speaking to you and all the other vendors. It's overwhelming, all these different options. Salespeople, you're just making it worse and harder for yourself, right? Let's really streamline down what we're going to talk to them about, okay? So problem number one is connected to problem number two is we do discovery, we forget about it. And then as a result, problem number two is we just show them everything. Now, problem number three is lack of stories. Think about what we're doing in sales, right? Especially in like SaaS tech, a lot of these kind of new markets that are spinning up. Our job is to get someone to do something the way that they're doing it today, because let's be honest, most people are getting the job done without us, either manually or with a competitor. And our job is to inspire them to do it differently and do it differently with us. And the problem is a lot of salespeople today, they don't sound like salespeople. And I know we don't want to sound like salespeople, but hear me out a second. They sound more like product trainers. Right? Like I bought your product, I've been through onboarding, and now I'm meeting this one person who's going to train my team how to use it. That's not inspiring, right? As salespeople, we need to tell micro stories. You'll see a lot of these influencers on LinkedIn that post these like day in the life of an AE or an SDR videos, right? But that's what you should be doing on demos. Like, hey, John gets to his desk at 8:30 while he's having his cup of coffee, jumps into his learning dashboard, and he's welcomed by an upcoming training that he needs to complete by today. And this is how he's going to go through that. Like, take them through that journey, right? So I've got 4 buckets for you today that I want you to think about when it comes to running a demo, okay? So I've just got a couple of notes here. So the way I bucket demos up is really kind of similar to how I bucket up discovery calls. If you haven't seen that video, go to my YouTube or go to my LinkedIn profile. You'll see the video there from a couple of weeks back. But for demos, it's like kind of like 4 key buckets, right? So you've got this like recap and alignment piece. And I'm going to give you some advice and some content and some tips today in that area. Then we've got stories, right? That's the product demonstration part. I don't want to call it a demo because really they're like micro stories that align back to the customer's outcomes they want to achieve. Then the third bucket is validation. I just don't see this happening. The whole point of a demo is to show product and ask the customer, hey, do you believe we can solve the product with your problem with our products, right? And then advancement, next step. So I break them down into 4 buckets. Then it's really easy as reps for us to like kind of navigate and manage time on that demo. So today, the bucket I want to talk to you about, all right, is the recap and the alignment kind of bucket. All right. So just a heads up, if you want to access more content like this, go to the Sales University. There's 50 lessons just on demo alone, 400 across the full sales process, including 100 plus in medic. All right. So let's talk about the first bucket, which is recap and alignment. I've got 3 actionable tips for you to take away from today. So the first is pre-call nurture. So you've done a discovery call, let's say a week ago, a couple of days ago, whatever it is. You're doing a demo on Tuesday next week. You don't see anybody else who's joined the call, right? So your champion or your possible champion hasn't invited anybody to that call. Here's a recommendation. Grab a video, like a Vidyard or a Loom, and record a video, 30, 60 seconds max, showing a little bit of your product aligned back to what you've discovered. And then saying, hey, Sarah, I noticed that John Smith is this role and Julie does this role. Typically, those folks get involved when we do an evaluation process. Do you want to invite them to the call? No worries if not. Oh, by the way, feel free to share this video with them. So what I'm doing is I'm using teasers. If you think about when you go to the cinema, you only go to the cinema to watch a movie when the trailer's really good. If the trailer's rubbish, you're like, I don't really feel inspired to go out of my way and go and watch that. I'll maybe watch it when it hits Netflix in a couple of years, right? But when you go to the cinema and go out of your way to go out the house to go and watch a movie, it's because the trailer's really good. So let's use trailers to kind of fire people up, educate them on the problem, tease them with what we can do, right? So if they're not inviting people, use that to make that recommendation. The second thing, which most people miss, is if you see other people start to accept the calendar invite, let's reach out to them in a one-to-one context. Hey, John, been speaking with Julie, notice you accepted the invite. Just to bring you up to speed, this is what we've been talking about. We have to stop making assumptions that your champion is educating everybody on what is going on. I've been invited as a VP of sales to meetings before with no context, and I hop on there and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. And the salesperson doesn't do any recap, so they don't help me. And I'm like piecing this thing together, right? So we have to go out and educate people. So if you see new people joining your call, don't worry about copying your champion in, right? You're doing them a favor. Reach out, hey, John, we've not connected before, been speaking to Julie, been having great conversations. These are the business challenges we've identified, and this is how we believe we're going to solve for them. Looking forward to virtually meeting you or physically meeting you on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Anything you want to add to this agenda, let me know and I'll make sure we make time for it. See you soon, right? They might not reply, but that's going to give me a back door to walk through at the end of the demo. Just say, hey, John, good to meet you today. Let me know if you want to learn a little bit more, right? And that helps me kind of go wide in the account. So that's kind of my first tip, right? Is what can we do before the call to get these people fired up and to get more people involved? Really simple, but one that's always missed. Okay. Next one is we jump onto the call, everybody turns up or just one person turns up. And I brought it up in my discovery video a couple of weeks ago, is there's no agenda. So reps don't use any agendas, or they do, but it's really like loose and fluffy and doesn't really make sense. It should just be a really detailed agenda. Hey, Julie, looking forward to chatting today. Let's say it's just me and the prospect, right? Me and my champion. Just want to do a really quick recap. Make sure that you and I are aligned because, a lot's changed since a lot's probably changed since we last spoke, or, things change a lot in business, whatever it might be, right? Quick recap and alignment. Then I'm going to jump into the product. I'm going to show you specifically how we can solve for this, this, and this that you mentioned is really important. Yeah. Then I want to understand what you think about it, and then we'll talk about next steps. Is there anything that you want to get from today that you'd be frustrated that we haven't achieved at the end of the 60 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever it is? No, that sounds good. Yeah, I'd love to understand. You spoke about pricing. I want to understand how it scales. Can we get that in? Sure, no worries. Let me add that to the agenda. Sounds good. Cool. So get that agenda, really simple. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy, right? But get it in so they know what's coming. Otherwise, it's confusing, right? So that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3, DM me if you want a copy of this. Call it the What We've Heard slide, okay? Now, the What We Heard slide is really powerful for sending a signal to our buyer. Now, there's lots of research out there, and you see all these things online that buyers consume all this content online. They kind of don't really want to be speaking to a lot of salespeople because we don't really listen to them. We don't really understand their world. This helps us combat that. So what you do is you basically fill in this one pager. Again, like I said, DM me if you want a free copy, or go to my website. You can download it from there under the resources tab. And you basically just document, this is your current state. This is what you're trying to achieve. This is why you can't. And these are the reasons why you can't, the root cause issues. Those are the things we have to solve for, okay? And these are the impacts, all right? Right-hand side, this is the desired state, where you want to be. You told me good looks like this, okay? Bottom left corner, technical requirements. It needs to have a Slack integration. It needs to have a report builder. It needs to be able to send notifications into Slack, whatever, right? What are the technical requirements? Maybe some economic and some relationship factors like onboarding or scalable pricing or whatever. Get that in there, all right? Bottom right bucket, how are we going to measure success? What you're ultimately doing is you're doing really thorough discovery. Oh, by the way, if you do poor discovery on your first call, you're not going to be able to fill this thing out, right? And which means you're probably running an unqualified opportunity and wasting everybody's time, right? You might trip over a deal every now and then, but, extremely unlikely. Also, when you do this stuff, your business case is going to be really powerful because you're going to be able to articulate to people in the room, or if you're not present, why we should be doing this stuff. And you got to remember your buyers aren't experienced salespeople like you are, okay? Now, the reason I love this recap slide, what we've heard slide, is it shows we were listening, shows we understand, but also allows us to run further discovery, right? So if we ran out of time or we didn't able to go super deep in the first call, we can go a little bit deeper and then go, right, that's really helpful. Let me jump into the product today. And I want to start off by this. And that's when I go into my stories, right? And I won't get into that today. But just kind of take those 3 tips today, which is before the demos even happened, look at the calendar invite. If you have to set a couple of reminders in your calendar every week to remind you to go and look at this stuff, then do it, right? It's worth it. Go look at my upcoming demos. Have they invited anybody? If not, grab Vidyard, grab Loom, whatever it is, record a really high energy, high value 30, 60-second video, nothing too long, otherwise they won't need the demo. But tease them, right? You build that trailer and say, hey, send it to them, and then say, hey, send this thing to a bunch of other people and let me know if it's relevant to them to join the call or not. But make that recommendation on who. Don't say just share it. Name people you want to bring along. And if those people have accepted the invite, then hey, reach out to them one-to-one. Hey, just want to put a face to the name. Super excited to meet you. These are what we've been speaking about. This is what good looks like. Looking forward to chatting. Anything you want to add to the agenda? No. So do that pre-call kind of content nurture piece. Second up, make sure you share an agenda. It's just best practice, but also helps you guide the conversation. And then third, let's build authority, trust, credibility with our buyers by showing them that we have been listening, we're understanding their world, and we want to align to it. And let's all be honest, right? You might all sell similar products, right? You think you got, big differentiators, all this kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to put 3 quotes on the table, 3 proposals, whatever it might be. Somebody is sliding one a little bit further ahead saying, I recommend this one though. And if at the end of the day, if you're all fairly priced, similar features, someone's going to have to choose someone. It's going to be the person they trust the most because they don't want egg on their face, right? So just like the way that we sell is how we differentiate as well, not just our product. Anyway, this video is getting long. I promised it would be, but I wasn't expecting it to be 11 minutes. So if this was value, reach out, let me know. If you want a copy of that, what we've heard slide, I've got 2 kind of examples depending on how you want to use it. Just drop me a DM, I'll pop it over. And yeah, let me know what you think.